If you live long enough by the sword, you will eventually die by the sword. And that is what's going on now with Sony. And pretty much, to be honest, if they don't get their act together, their days are numbered. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Hebot coming at you with another video from my car, as you can see. Thank you for your love and patience and all your kind messages and all your harsh messages from all the trolls. I think it's entertaining and it's funny. You know, and it just keeps me going. It keeps me motivated, right? Your boy been going through a lot, but that's neither here nor there. That's not what this video is about. So Sony finally comes out and says what we've all suspected and known for a very long time, or at least a few of us. I've mentioned this plenty of times before, that Sony is more reliant on multi-plats than people actually believe and think, and more than they actually let out to believe to the general public or even the media. You know, their MO is always to say, oh yeah, you know, we're about the exclusive story-driven or heavy story-driven narrative games. Excuse me. And that they sell well for us, so we'll continue to make them and things of that nature, which for the most part I'm pretty sure they make some type of revenue with those games, because if they didn't, they wouldn't make sequels. Now, the fact that they come out and say, oh, something like, let's say, The Last of Us sold 30 million units, you know, is very deceptive, because The Last of Us came out in the PS3 era, and we all know that it's been remastered already this time around 3 times, and it's been bundled, and it's been priced at $5, and it's been priced at $10. So it's sold 30 million unit lifetime, but they'll make it seem as if that's what it's sold for them as far as profits, or as far as, you know, it doing well in sales, when that's not how sales work. Everyone knows that sales have to do with their initial release, meaning and during their launch window. So if you look at something like Spider-Man, for example, if the launch window was 3.3 million, and then 2 weeks later it went up as far as 4.2 million, those are the initial sales. That's really what it sold initially. Because if we go back, when Spider-Man first came out, for example, again, once November hit, which was literally 2 months after its initial release date, it was bundled in a PS4 Slim unit for that Black Friday. And that system itself, that Black Friday, broke records. It sold almost 6 million consoles for that Black Friday, meaning those 2 days in that weekend. Unheard of, and a feat for sure. But all those 6 million consoles that were sold from that bundle, they came from it being free, because the game console, the game itself was given out for free, and they gave out physical copies, because physical copies you can count and say, oh, we sold this much. But if it was a digital copy, like Microsoft tended to do last generation with a lot of games that they gave it out digitally as opposed to physical, you can't really count those numbers because it's a digital code. You can't bring it back in, trade it in, get any value anywhere at any point. And that's why Sony does what they do with the physical medium, to be slick, to give the perception that they sell more than what they actually did. And that's particularly, they do that for their investors. But again, that's not what it's about. It's part of what it's about. We all know that Call of Duty, once it shifted its marketing deal to PlayStation, a big chunk of people started to play it on PlayStation 4. You know, especially casuals. So a lot of kids were like telling your friends that were on 360 that were casuals to begin with, yo, the Call of Duty win shifted. You're gonna play the maps first on PS4, when they were used to it on 360, and they're like, let's go over there, come over there. And a lot of friends followed their friends, which, you know, real gamers don't do that, because of the fact that they wanted to play Call of Duty on PS4 with all the DLCs and maps first. Now, This is not uncommon. It's something that happens. It's just like, how big something like Minecraft is, that you can pretty much play it on any platform, including the phone, and there's millions and millions of players because it's so popular within, the gaming industry in general as a whole, whether it's with younger kids, middle-aged, women, dudes that love streaming it, whatever the case it is, but you get the point, to give you an idea. And, Sony came out and admitted, listen, we're concerned, we're afraid, we're concerned and afraid that Call of Duty being owned by Microsoft now, it's going to shift people to their console. Hey, that's how originally you got your viewers, or you got your audience to begin with. Because these guys were originally on 360, a lot of them. And now you're concerned because they're going to shift back? Why? That tells you right there that Sony relies heavily on the income that they make, that money revenue they make from Call of Duty, for example. And they also said that they don't have, a team that has enough talent to create something to rival Call of Duty and as big as it is. And to be honest, Call of Duty is just a first-person shooter that's made in a very cinematic style with a very robust multiplayer online component. And it's not doing something that's rewriting the books or nothing like that, especially since they've been doing this since the beginning of the OG Xbox with Call of Duty back then. It's just gotten bigger and bigger and more cinematic and more graphically intense because technology has evolved, right? And Activision, was trying to get bought because they lost a lot of money, and they were in a position where they felt they needed to, get bought so that they can stay afloat and maybe reinvent the wheel within the company itself, and some other stuff going on behind closed doors and things of that nature. Now, everyone knows that Microsoft did not force them, to be purchased. And that mind boggles me, because it aggravates me to see people like Dustin Legary, for example, which I had a one back and forth with him yesterday, trying to act as, Microsoft downplaying this, acting like that, they're not doing something, buying something unique, when first-person shooters are not unique. It's just very popular, like Minecraft or like GTA. It just so happens that Activision owns it. Because to be honest, even though Activision has a lot of legacy titles, what other big titles do they have that people are yearning for every year, year in, year out, year in, year out? The answer is none. The only reason why Call of Duty is a big deal is because it is their best-selling and biggest-selling title. And that thing sells for them year in, year out, without question, every single year. Okay? And that's why Activision was pushing that narrative that they wanted Call of Duty to come out every year. And it was being developed by 3 different developers, like Sledgehammer Studios, for example. And they would rotate that development cycle within each other for every 3 years. So they would have initially 3 years to develop the next game themselves, each developer. But we would see it every year, but they would rotate internally with the developers every 3 years, right? If that makes any sense. I hope I'm not confusing you. I hope I'm conveying the message. And so, it's just a big thing. It doesn't go away. It's almost embedded in the sense like Madden, that everybody that buys it is used to buying it. It's like buying a carton of milk in the store. They're just going to buy Call of Duty. A lot of guys that play Call of Duty only play Call of Duty. They don't really play other video games. They just play Call of Duty. I myself know a guy that's a good friend of mine named Angel that's all he plays. And he buys it every year. Another guy named Josh that I know. That's all he buys is Call of Duty every year. And he'll stay almost the whole entire year playing the multiplayer after he beats the campaign until the new one comes out. That's all they do every year. In and out, in and out. So that's the market that keeps making them that money or that revenue, right? Because they keep spending when they buy content also when, with the online component. And Sony admitted it, This is a big revenue stream for us, and we're concerned. But the bottom line is this: who cares? Sony's entire existence was buying themselves into the industry, buying everybody that was available, developers, buying timed exclusive, long-term exclusive, the publishers, all types of deals. Because at the time that they came in the industry with the console, where they didn't even pay for, because the R&D was paid by Nintendo for that console, which was the PlayStation 1, they didn't care and respected the industry. They didn't try to come into the industry respectfully and earn their spot and earn their place respectfully. No. What they did was, screw you, screw Sega, screw Nintendo. We got money that you guys don't have, and we're going to buy off whatever we want to compete in whatever we want to do. They never had internal IPs. They never had actual publishers that they owned or created. Nothing. They just bought everybody. And at the time the 3DS2 came around, then that's when they started having in-house developers that they created, like the guys who did Gran Turismo, which is Polyphony, and even the ones who did the sports games, which at that time was 989 Studios. Okay? But granted, the bottom line is that they didn't earn their spot. Being respectful and doing it with class, respecting the pioneers of the industry at that time, which was Atari and which was Sega and Nintendo. No, they just said, we're going to do whatever we want. And nobody cared. Nobody ever pointed it out. People acted as if, oh no, it's because it's a Sony product and people trust the name brand, which in part that is true. At that time, people bought stuff like electronics and things of that nature just slowly based on the brand name. And they trust things just based on brand name. So, in part it is true, right? But the people that were real gamers knew that Sony wasn't doing anything but just bullying themselves into the industry, which they did. And there's no denying it, right? For those who like to deny it or try to ignore it, act like that's not the case. And now, all these years later, that finally, them living by the sword, right? That it's not working in their favor. Now they know they're in trouble, because potentially what this would mean is Microsoft is not going to force Activision developers to make a Call of Duty every year. They're not going to do that. They're going to tell them to take their time and bring it out when they feel it's ready. And even venture off and do other intellectual properties that they own and mix the formula to have more content to come to Game Pass, for example, right? And so now they want to play the victim role. Oh my God. Oh, Jesus, help me. Oh, we're in trouble. Please don't let them do this to these AFT, NMT, whoever the fuck is in charge. I forget the name of the people in charge of preventing big acquisitions and business deals, that when they take place with big conglomerate companies, right? And the thing is this is the kicker. This is the biggest kicker. The biggest threat that's going on right now is Tencent, and they're Chinese. Tencent gives not 1-2 fucks about gaming and the industry of gaming. What they give a fuck is about them making money off an industry that they know makes more money than any other entertainment industry in the world, including movies. So they have money. They saw they had an opportunity to get a piece of the pie to try to take control. But they don't care about the gaming industry. So much so that at this point they own almost 60% of the gaming market. And people are trying to cry wolf, saying that Microsoft is monopolizing when they already monopolized. Because when you own more than 50% or close to 60% of the gaming market, that means you control more than half. So automatically, by default, that's a monopoly because you own more shares than anyone else. Yet no one is calling it out, like Dustin Legary, like, the retards over there, IGN, that always want to talk about bull crap, and everybody else in every other media outlet like Forbes and all these other places that are trying to get involved in the business aspect of dealings with video games and video game companies. Now the rumor is that Ubisoft might get bought and have stakes being bought by, Tencent. Tencent is not something we're supposed to be celebrating. We're not supposed to be okay thinking, because they'll keep it multiplayer. Of course they're going to keep it multiplayer because they want to have control over everything. They want to get money from all sides. But the point is, they have never done anything for the gaming industry. Yet they own all these stakes in the gaming industry. You get what I'm saying? How do you own so much with nobody saying a word, yet you've never contributed anything to gaming as a company? That don't really make much sense, right? But that's what's going on. So, no one's barking. The rumors came out yesterday with Ubi, and no one's barking. No one's saying nothing. Everybody's just paying attention to this stupid thing that's going on with the lawsuits, with the lawyers over there, that particularly, I think it came from Europe, trying to fight off saying that Microsoft taking control of Call of Duty and Activision is to hurt Sony, to bring them down, and is going to hurt their company. Listen, Microsoft is not here to babysit anybody. It's not their business to protect Sony or Nintendo. Period. The same way Sony doesn't give two flying shits that because they have the marketing rights or the rights for the movies for Spider-Man, that they keep making these Marvel deals with Marvel, right? Like the Wolverine and Spider-Man 2, right? And everybody's okay with it. Or making little marketing deals like the Final Fantasy VII Remake that still, to this point, it's been almost 3 years, hasn't come to Xbox. Not forgetting that they also had deals like with the game Kena, for example. Or the game, the Final Fantasy 16, the next one that's supposed to come out. The sequel iteration. And no one's caring, right? No one's saying nothing. It's just business. So, again, the same mentality and energy saying that it's just business is what we have to apply now to Xbox. Microsoft made a deal with Activision. Activision was even told, go to other buyers to see if they're interested. No one was able to give them an offer they wanted. No one could afford them, I guess. And they came back to Microsoft and they made the decision, and now they're going to be owned once this deal is over. So at the end of the day, it's business. It's business. So honestly, Sony, long term, if this hurts them, I don't feel sorry for them. They get what they deserve, right? And if they go to the wayside in peril and become just a software company, hey, it is what it is. When you had money and power, you did it to Sega. You didn't care. And then people wanted to blame that it was only the bad decisions of Sega. No, because once Peter Moore came in and the Dreamcast started doing well, Sega had another opportunity. And then what Sony did was, a week or two later, when they saw that it was doing so well, real quick tried to dethrone the hype, which they did. And so PS2 is coming out, and these are the specs, and it's going to be so powerful that it's going to be able to cure cancer and all kinds of stupidity. It's going to have a DVD player. When you have all these people worrying about a DVD player at that time, because there was a bunch of casuals, because it was going to be the cheapest, option at that point than anything else. Just like when the PS3 came out, they were pushing the Blu-ray situation as a point of selling point, right? So again, like I've said, if you live by the sword long enough, eventually you're going to die by that sword. And that's the position Sony's in now, It's the inevitable. It's only a matter of time. And Microsoft is not going, like I said, it's not going to force any developer in Activision to make Call of Duty every single year just so they can appeal to Sony. It's not going to happen. And to be honest, I would not be surprised if after the next 2 games or the next game is released, Microsoft cuts another contract and be like, you know what, we're going to keep the game exclusive to the ecosystem of Xbox. And that's not even including the fact that Xbox gamers are going to be able to play it at no additional cost on Game Pass, which makes the selling point to play it on Game Pass much more valid and much more impactful, because it's going to be, you play it here on Game Pass versus you got to buy it day and day no matter what, because you have no options on the PS5, right, or PS4. You have no options. You have to buy it. Whether you like the game, whether you don't like the game, it's not going to matter. You have no choice or option as a gamer of that ecosystem. With Xbox, you have a choice. You're going to be able to play it there. And then if you like the game and it's good enough that you want to warrant a purchase or ownership, you can buy it either digitally or you can buy it, physical. It's all up to you. It's all up to you and how you want to do it, right? And that's the beauty of being a gamer on Microsoft's ecosystem. That is the de facto. That is the biggest difference. That is why people say, like my brother Sega Man, he says, we're eating good over here. Because we are not forced in making purchases that we are not sure we're going to enjoy. Because whether we like buying Call of Duty all the years, every year or not, it's not going to really matter. It doesn't really matter, because there's going to be a point where one of your favorite games or franchise or developers or publishers are going to make a game, right, that you may not like. It's impossible that a developer or publisher will bring out games for all the time that you're going to always like. That's a lie. That's not real. And that's the case here. So there's going to be a point where you're not going to be able to buy those games anymore, right? And you're not going to be able you're not going to necessarily like every game they bring out. Excuse me for that. I lost my train of thought. So, that's just not realistic. That's not realistic. So again, I think this is great because I don't care about Sony. I really don't. Not in the least. Not in the very least. Especially that I still see Japanese handouts left and right, or developers handing out stuff for them left and right that we don't get at all. That's not even Japanese, or that's not even owned by any particular deal or marketing deal or exclusive deal even that Sony made with this set publisher or developer. They just get shit free because they're the leading platform, quote unquote. Although 25% of those PlayStation 5s are unactive, which is another reason why the sales of games are low, which they also came out and admitted that the game sales are lower than the lowest they've ever been, and lower than Nintendo and lower than Xbox. Even though Xbox gamers, quote unquote, don't buy games because we play games on Game Pass only, which the reality is it's not true, because not every game comes out on Game Pass. It's only a small amount. Regardless of how many games come out, it's still a small amount. It's not a big amount. So guys, I'm loving this. I think it's great. I think Sony gets what they deserve in this point, or with this situation. I think it's comical, at the very least, that they're playing the victim role now, saying, "Oh, it's not fair to us. It's not fair." Listen, it wasn't fair to a lot of people when you bought out deals like Code Veronica, not Code Veronica, like you did with Resident Evil, or like what you did with Tomb Raider back in the Sega Saturn era. You didn't care. Your whole goal was to destroy Sega. and take over the market. That's why you were able to undercut your console by $100 because you never paid for the R&D to begin with. And you had the money where you could take the loss, and Sega did it, and y'all knew that. And because you knew that, you pushed the issue. And you kept buying companies that made Final Fantasy. You stole the deal with Square Enix from Nintendo when Final Fantasy was always synonymous with Nintendo. And you guys didn't care. Same thing with Dreamcast when it was doing well. But because you knew Sega was in long term, didn't have the money to compete with developers to make deals and exclusive deals with them, you undercut them too with the PS2 era. So, Sony, you get what you deserve. Guys, give me a thumbs up if you liked the video. Give me a thumbs down if you didn't like the video, which I know a lot of you ain't going to like it. I really don't care because the truth hurts, baby. The truth hurts. It is what it is. But if you do come and enjoy the video, share it with someone you think might also enjoy it. Let me know down in the comments below what you think. What are your thoughts on the situation? And if you agree with me or if you don't agree with me. Just like for all of you that continue to give me support to this point. Just remember that I'm humbled and I'm completely blessed for having you and for being here, because without you, my channel would not be sustained. So thank you from the bottom of my heart, always, because you guys make it all possible. I'm on the road to 1,000 subscribers. I'm literally 20 subscribers away. 20. Unbelievable. It's almost surreal to me. I hope I make it. I hope I do. But I know I can do it with your help. So, spread the word. Say, hey, go support this guy. Go support Brother Hebot. He does good content. He likes what he does. You'll enjoy it. And he does all types of different things. You'll find something in his channel you might like, whether it's video games, whether it's figure related, whether it's gossips with news and conversation about news, whatever the case may be, even movies. So, guys, I love you. I'll see you soon. God bless each and every one of you. Have a great weekend. And I'll see you in the next one. Signing off, your boy Hebot. Xbox for life. Like a sickness that can't be cured. That's my saying. That's my slogan. Don't get triggered, people. It's just gaming. It's all in good fun.